In West Africa, Guinea is pushing ahead with plans for legislative elections and a census to revamp the voter roll. The opposition wants the census to be administered by an independent body, saying results could be manipulated to favor the current leadership. The government's announcement that it plans to conduct an electoral census, revamp the voters' roll and organize legislative elections, all by year's end, has escalated tension with the opposition. The government of Alpha Condé says the move is necessary for aid to begin flowing into the country. The European Union says it will resume full cooperation with Guinea-Conakry only after it organizes legislative elections. Guinea last held elections last year after a brief military takeover following the death of longtime leader Lansana Conté. The move is expected to unblock millions of dollars worth of aid. Secretary General Saloum Cissé of the ruling Rally of the People of Guinea, or RPG, argues a new census is necessary because the previous one had irregularities.
Le premier fichier là, il y a beaucoup de méandres.
The first voters list had many problems. Honestly, I can tell you that census was not extensive in certain areas of the country because some people were avoiding the census because of tax problems. That goes without saying. In certain areas, a census was conducted with people who were not of age.
But the opposition, which wants the country's independent electoral commission to decide the census, says it will mobilize its supporters and organize marches against it. Secretary General Uri Ba of the opposition Union of Democratic Party Forces, or UFDG, says they suspect the process will be flawed in favor of Mr. Condé.
Nous nous sommes dit que ceci est contraire au droit.
We told ourselves that this is the opposite of what the law says, and we cannot accept that a new voter census can be conducted, which would trigger a similar situation to that of Ivory Coast, and which risks destabilizing the country with ethnic undertones, because it aims to exclude some Guineans and their right to citizenship.
Guinea-Conakry's 2010 election, which ended a long transition from military rule, was hailed a success and an example to West Africa with its history of civil wars, armed power grabs and accusations of rigged elections. Many observers saw last year's election as a step toward winning back foreign aid for Guinea and taking advantage of its role as among the world's top bauxite producers. However, political and ethnic tensions have continued to simmer, with accusations that Condé's security forces have cracked down on supporters of his chief political rival, the UFDG's Cellou Dalein Diallo, whom Condé defeated in a runoff. Condé's Malinke ethnic group accounts for 35% of the population and Diallo's Pearl group 40%. Political analyst Alpha Amdou Banobari says without a compromise, the legislative elections will not be smooth.
In my opinion, all they needed was to talk to each other and come to an understanding. They should have said, we will do another census, but because you don't trust us, because in reality there's a trust problem, we'll do it together. We either recruit an international organization which will be given this mandate, and none of us should get involved, and we will then wait for the results. Or that every agent conducting the census is accompanied by a representative from the opposition and one from the government.
Staying in West Africa, the head of the Ivorian Popular Front Party has quit in frustration of the inability of its hardline members to move on and form a credible opposition. The FPI is the party of former President Laurent Gbagbo. Mamadou Coulibaly is seen as a moderate and is one of the few heavyweights in Gbagbo's party not being held on criminal charges. Coulibaly was named interim president while former party chief Pascal Affi N'Guessan awaits trial in the north.
The opposition mission is not to stand there crying, wallowing in self-pity, complaining about itself for 5 years. It has to be proactive, self-confident, and constructive for the good of the Ivorian people. It's because I want to implement these ideas that I took a firm decision to leave the FP.
Coulibaly says he will work on building his own independent party.